Cavella, and I want to welcome you to this episode of the Fearless Aging TV show, where in every episode, my guests and I, we strive to offer you proven tips and strategies that you can implement immediately to greatly improve your overall health and well-being. So we're here to inspire you and empower you to become your best self so you can go out and make a bigger positive difference in the world. And the title of today's show is A Life Yet to Live. And that's the title of my guest's book. And I'm really excited to have him on because he's a great inspiration and a role model for people to realize that they can change their life and they can get and stay healthy and energetic for life. And you don't have to accept the mainstream narrative that that's just the way it is. We're all going to get old and sick and maybe need long-term care and die in our 70s. That may be normal. That's not natural. So our guest is such a good advocate for that. So his name is Ron Kastner. He's a health and well-being advocate and author of the book A Life Yet to Live. So I just one more point about Ron I want to say is Ron became a first-time father of two daughters in his mid-50s, and also he had lost his father at age 7. So I know he didn't want to have that happen to him and not be around for his daughters. So that's really was his main motivation for doing what he did. So Ron Kastner, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah, it's great to have
I
you. As
appreciate it.
I as I mentioned already, you're such a great inspirer and a role model for people. So I really appreciate what you're up to. So first, well, just tell us a little bit about your journey. I'm kind of curious to know as you told me that when you after you had your two daughters and you were in your mid 50s, what kind of shape were you in then, and how was your health at that time?
I was in relatively good shape. I had been fairly active most of my life. I swam on a master swim team in my 40s. But if anybody had kids, you realize that time you don't have a lot of time. I was working like crazy too, and uh, so I was in relatively good shape. I did not eat well. I drank way too much, um, and I was always doing social stuff. Big dinners and
Hmm.
out to eating out and all that stuff. So that part of it was not. But as far as exercise goes, I was trying to be fairly conscientious. I walked a lot and that sort of stuff.
But
Um,
what really triggered you to think?
Well, I had a wake up moment. Like you said, I had my first daughter when I was 54, my second daughter when I
Wow,
was 57,
that's very
and
cool.
and se- and at some point in that, I think in that same year that I had my second daughter, she was about 6 months old. I had a wake up call. I was on a train and a whole. It's described in the book. Um, that I had a wake up call. There's a whole bunch of different things that happened on that day, and this and I, I had a holy shit WTF moment that was my the realization that my dad died when I was 7, and I grew up without a father, uh, and I said to myself, if I don't live a very different next 20 years than most people in as they get older. They're going to grow up with either an older dad who is feeble and not as energetic as a dad should be to young kids, um, or maybe without me at all. You know, so here I am. I'll be 75 in March. And I am now. Um, I just did a deep dive. Everything changed at that time. I just did a deep dive. It took a while. I did a deep dive into every piece of information I could find, books, articles, everything, all from the public, I'm not a health and well. I'm an advocate, but I'm not a health and wellness expert by any means. I do what normal people do, which is read a lot, and all this stuff is out there. You can find out for yourself.
Right. Well, Ron, before we get into actually what you did learn and how you did it for people, I just want to get your opinion again. I mean, you had that realization and
Yeah,
you actually took action on it. So I'm sure it's a common thing. So many people are facing that. So many people today in their 50s or so, and they have families, and they realize that they're not nearly as healthy or as energetic as they need to be. And people, as the average age now in America is only about 76. It's actually come down,
I know.
and yet, science
Which
now
is
tells
which
us
is
our
which
genetic
is
potential.
shocking. Which is shocking, given
Yeah,
modern medicine and everything else.
Yeah, and America's not even ranked in the top 20 for longevity. So
No.
something's really wrong with our whole society. It's
Yep.
really comes down to our lifestyle. And so, but I just want to ask you, why do you think that so many people? I mean, they're facing the same things that we all do, and you did, but they're not really taking the action that you did. So what really? I mean, how come you were able to do it? Why do you think so many people have a hard time realizing that?
A combination of things. First of all, I think a lot of people believe the myth that there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
Um, and they go, "Oh, I'm just getting old," and they will, and they'll have a sore hip or something like that, and they say, I'm just getting old," and they don't realize that you can do stuff for it.
yeah,
You can go to the gym, you can see a physio, you can do yoga, you can do all kinds of stuff, and that stuff actually works. And I think where modern medicine fails us, modern medicine is great at, intervention and fixing us with, once something goes wrong. But where modern medicine fails us is in prevention.
yeah,
Um, and you've got, it's starting to come around. You've got people out there like Peter Attia now with Outlive and all that stuff saying prevention is medicine 3.0.
hmm,
And that's definitely the path that I took. It was all about prevention. It was all about fixing my diet. It was all about vastly increasing the amount of exercise and movement that I do and different kinds of things. Uh, and I didn't expect what I did. I had a very narrow mission, which was my daughters, and I did what this is also to your question. I did what was important to me. I did what was important to me. And through that window, I found that this time of life is not. I didn't expect to go back into therapy and figure out a whole bunch of trauma that I had as a kid that affected me all my life. I didn't expect to be as vibrantly healthy right now as I am. I really am. I just I can't believe how good. Seriously, it's a
yeah,
wonder every day. I just went to a yoga class yesterday and I was doing stuff that people 30 years younger than me couldn't do, you know.
yeah,
And so I didn't expect all this to happen. That was a bonus. What I did was my daughters need a dad. They're now 17 and 20. So, their formative years are done. I still love being their dad, but they've got their own life. One's in vet school and one's finishing up high school. And,
yeah.
they've got their own lives now in a big way. And I will still be there for them always. But now I've got a whole new outlook on life. And it's like,
Yeah,
hey, I
for
may have,
yourself.
I may
Yeah,
have another 20 years,
yeah. You want to
5
be able
years.
to you want to be able to enjoy your life and also enjoy the fruits of your labor and also what I like to tell people, Ron, is there's another reason for other than to take care of your family and for obviously for your own self to enjoy your life more. But I think that we're all here. As we age, we gain wisdom and knowledge, right? And we need
Absolutely.
and we need more people like yourself to stay healthy and energetic so you can give back that wisdom and knowledge to help other people and to solve some of these great problems that we're all
Absolutely.
solving as humanity. We're facing, right?
What
Hey,
one thing that um, we don't appreciate enough is that this is an incredibly precious time of life.
mhm,
You mentioned people in their 50s and 60s have this. I call it. There's nobody gets close to 60 without thinking, you know what, this is getting scary now.
mhm,
This is kind of the near the end. This is kind of and mortality's a big thing. But if you allow it to influence you and say, listen, I have a limited number of years left on this planet. What is it that I want to do? Then there's a whole different aspect to it. you know and
yeah,
health obviously is the foundation of that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said. And again, and we need, we need more people to, as we age, to be role models for younger people. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
that's that's the only way we're really going to change things, when individually realize that they can take responsibility for their health, and they can see others can do it like you are. And so that's just, you're doing such a great job. So I really appreciate that. So I'll
Thank
tell you
you.
what. Before we go on, we have a little video about your book and your message, and then we'll talk about your book and why you wrote it and what's in it.
Okay.
So we're going to play a short little video. You are one that talks about your new book, A Life Yet to Live. If you are if you are wondering what to do with your life now that you are retired, join Rod Kastner, author of A Life Yet to Live, and living the rest of your life in a new chapter filled with health, joy, and purpose. Your best life can be yet to come.
Hi, I'm Ron Kastner. I'm now almost 75 and in super prime health. I'm stronger, more active, and flexible than I was 20 years ago, and I'm living the best years of my life. This is my book, A Life Yet to Live, Finding Health, Vitality, and Joy After 60. It's the journey of my pursuit of health and longevity over the past 2 decades, which was prompted by a commitment to be a healthy and active dad for my 2 daughters as I got older. This isn't rocket science. It's equal part physical training, diet, yoga, paying attention to what really matters in life, all of which I've done lots of experimentation and research on. You can find the book and regular updates on my website, ronkastner.com.
All right, really good.
Thanks.
Well, Ron, so tell us about what motivated you to write your book.
um that we just talked about it. It was my daughters. Oh, you mean to write the book?
Yeah,
Along the way, I was just sharing my story with other people, and I realized, and they went, "Huh, well, what did you do?" And they go, what is this? You did a detox, you did this, you do how much exercise do you do? What? And I figured, you know what? Um, First of all, the book would be the book is dedicated to my daughters. The book is a way of showing my daughters how much I love them, and what I did to be their dad. So that was first and foremost. But secondly, I just thought it would be useful. I thought it would be useful for people to read my story. Like I said, I am not an expert. I try not to give advice, and I say to people, you have to, here's my story. You have to find what motivates you and what works for you. There's a lot of stuff here that is, common. We need to move more. We need to exercise more. We need to clean up our diets. We need to sleep well and, get enough sleep and all that other stuff. So there's a lot of common stuff, but everybody's got their own lens on life, and it's not mine. And if some stuff doesn't work for you, then so be it. But find a way to make your health work for you. So
yeah, well, before we get into a little bit more about what you actually do yourself
Yeah.
and some more aspects of your book, I think the message here that we want to get out to the audience, Ron, is that you need to take the time out. You know, we all get caught up into this rush society that we're in now, right? It's highly stressful. We're rushed, and our main we've gotten so much into our main goal is how much money we can make and how much wealth we can build. And you know,
Yeah.
we have a saying here in our holistic community here in San Diego that so many people uh, spend their health building their wealth, and then they have to try and then start spending their wealth to try and build their health, and that's not a good system. So what, just as you were saying, what we want to recommend, what the message is here is, take some time out to really, as you did, Ron, to discover what's truly important in your life. You know, what are some really goals, and how do you want your life to be really, and what kind of a legacy do you want to have? So take some time out to really discover that, and then maybe you'll have some really insights and some moments of whoa, I'm maybe not on the right track. And you know what I found, Ron, is I have a little system. I call it the seven whys. Like if somebody says, "Well, I want to lose weight," so then I say, "Well, why do you want to lose weight?" And they'll usually say some kind of superficial thing. Well, so I'll fit into my jeans or something, you know, like that.
Right.
But when you drill down, why do you want to do that? Why do you want? It usually come down just what you said. Usually come down to something for your family. You know, that's usually the most important thing, or your spouse or your family. You know, you want to be a role model for them. You want to be around for them. So that's such an important message that you have. That's why I love your story, is to realize what is truly important and what are you here and how you can be, you know, be there for whatever is important in your life. So that, I think that's the message that we really want to get out to people.
I just did a post. My weekly newsletter came out today, and one of the posts, I do two posts a week or one or two posts a week, and one of them is called "Fix Yourself First."
Mm.
And
Yeah,
it's the old adage of, you know, if you're put your oxygen mask on first before you help others.
right.
And if you're not in a state where um, you can help other people because you know what that process is like, then you know you're not going to be any good to other people. So make yourself the first priority, and it will come. It will come that you help other people.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, so good. I want to say too. Well, we'll put all this in the description of the show. You know, your website, just ronkastner.com.
Yep,
And I did know, you know, I've been on your site quite a bit, Ron, and I noticed in addition to where you can get your book, you have a lot of really good articles on all different types of topics.
I
So
do.
yeah, I highly recommend you go there uh, to ronkastner.com. He's got a lot of really good information that'll be really valuable for you. So you definitely want to go there. Again, we'll put that address in the show notes. So I've got a quick, valuable message for you, and then for a short message. And when we come back, we're gonna hear more from Ron about what he actually does on a daily basis. I think that'll be really helpful.
Okay.
So we got a short message here for you. There's always a little delay before it comes on.
It's all right.
Come on. Hello, I'm Rico Cavella, creator of the Ageless Living Lifestyle. If you are concerned about premature aging and you want to avoid disease and old age, and you want to live a more healthy, energetic, and vital long life, I have proven solutions for you. So number one, go to agelessliving.lifestyle.com and take our aging quiz to see how well you are doing. And number two, book your free coaching session with me to discuss your wellness challenges, and I promise to get you going on the right track. You can transform your health and your life, and I can help. Okay, very good. Okay, Ron. So I think what would be interesting to our audience is give us uh, give us an idea of how your days
Well,
go and your weeks go. What do you actually do?
Um, well, physical stuff is vitally important to me. I start every morning with a morning routine. I do a whole bunch of breathing exercises. I take my heart rate variability. I do a lot of Wim Hof, the breathing thing. So I do that every morning. I do about 15, 20 minutes of stretching, yoga, light kind of stuff just to get my body moving. I'll tell you one thing. However you feel, if you move doing anything, whether it's walking, anything, for 15 minutes, you will feel differently after that. It's not a matter of better or worse. It's just a matter of you will feel differently. Once your blood starts circulating.
Yeah, before you go on, Ryan, I just want to point out that those are two of the most important things. We need to get more oxygen in our bodies. That's you're
Yeah,
right on. So you got to do some breathing exercises. There's a lots of again. I mean, there's so much free information out there too. You can just go on YouTube and check out breathing exercises. So there's no excuse
absolutely.
for not learning what you need to do. And then the other thing is, like say, stretching. That's really the most important thing. A true measure of your age is really how flexible are you? How
Yes.
well can you move? Mobility is one of the biggest issues that older people are facing, not being mobile. So you're right. You're just so spot on. That's how you got to start your day, by loosen your body up so you can move well and you can breathe well. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and there again, if you crawl out of bed and feel stiff and everything else, but don't pop the anti-inflammatories. Move a little bit. It does the same thing. It does the same thing. I do 2 or 3 zone 2 aerobic sessions a week. Usually in the gym, and for anywhere probably about an average about an hour, but sometimes 90 minutes, whatever. I usually do one high intensity session a week, which is sometimes it's just walking fast up a hill for a minute, walking back down, and doing that about 10 times. I get my maximum heart rate now is probably about 160, and I get my heart rate up to the 150s in doing that. And zone 2 for me is about 110 beats per minute. I think a heart monitor is a pretty essential tool in aerobic exercise. You really need to know what your maximum is and where your zone 2 is and all that other stuff. I do 1 or 2 strength sessions in the gym every week. I usually take anywhere from 1 to 3 yoga classes, plus the stuff I do, you
That's
know,
great.
and then I stay active. I mean, if you do all that, it's a lot, and a lot of people go, how can you do that? And my answer is, how can I not?
Yeah,
I know I've done the experimentation with myself. If I don't do that much, I don't
right.
feel this. I don't
Yeah,
feel it.
no question about it. What about your diet? Talk just a little bit about
Um,
diet.
I am a pretty simple. I try not to eat carbs hardly at all. Anything processed, baked, you know. Um, so most of my diet is protein and vegetables.
Okay,
It's pretty simple.
that's the
that
best.
being that being said, and healthy oils, avocados and olive oil and stuff like that,
Great.
nuts and seeds. That being said, I will always, you know, go out to eat with people and not go crazy saying, I don't want to have that, and I don't want. I'll
Yeah.
just find stuff. I'll just find stuff on the menu that works for me.
Yeah, I,
Salad.
I, I totally agree. We're almost
Yeah,
running out of time here. I totally agree with that. There's no need to be extreme. You don't have to beat yourself up. You don't even have to work out as much as Ron does. You just have to develop a program that suits your particular lifestyle.
absolutely.
The last 30 seconds we got here, Ron, uh,
Okay.
give us one big tip that'll maybe inspire people to actually take action on what they learned today?
I'm gonna use Peter Attia as the inspiration. In his book Outlive, he says you need to find your why, because if you find your why do I want to live longer? Why do I want to be healthier? What's in it for me? If you find that, everything else comes.
That's perfect.
That's where your motivation comes from, and that's where your information comes
That's
from.
perfect, Ron. Thank you so much for this great interview. I really appreciate what you're doing. So today, if you like today's episode, tell your friends about the Fearless Aging TV show, and you can subscribe to our show at agelesslivinglifestyle.com/podcast.